यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनातीरावनचारि यमुनातीरावनचारि
जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव जय विश्वगुरु शील प्रभुपदा विश्वगुरु शील प्रभुपदा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय मिशपात परमंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस विश्वगुरु ऐसे भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ISKCON बिबरी फाउंडर आचार्य विश्वगुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय जय मिशपात परमंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय श्री श्री कृष्ण रुक्मिणी सत्यभामा की जय श्री श्री गौरनिताय की जय विश्वगुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Prayers by Queen Kunti, verse number 7. Amantriya Pandu Putran Cha Amantriya Pandu Putram Cha Amantriya Pandu Putram Cha Shaineya Uddhava Samyutaha Shaineyodhava Samyutaha Shaineyodhava Samyutaha Dvaipayana Adibhihi Vipraihi Dvaipayanadibir Vipraihi Dvaipayanadibir Vipraihi Pujitaihi Pratipujitaha Pujitai Pratipujitaha Pujitai Pratipujitaha Amantriya Pandu Putranscha Shaineyodhava Samyutaha Dvaipayanadibir Vipraihi Pujitai Pratipujitaha Amantriya Pandu Putranscha Shaineyodhava Samyutaha Dvaipayanadibir Vipraihi Pujitai Pratipujitaha
Amantraya Pandu Putramscha Saineyo Uddhava Samyuta Dvaipayanadibir Vipraihi Pujitai Pratipujitaha
Saineyodhava Samyutaha Dvaipayanadibir Vipraihi Pujitahi Pratipujitaha
Amantriya Pandu Putramscha Saineyodhava Samyutaha Dvaipayanadibir Vipraha Pujita Pratipujita.
Amantriya, inviting Pandu Putran, all the sons of Pandu, Cha, also Shaineya, Satyaki, Uddhava, Samyutaha, accompanied, Dvaipayana Adibhihi, by the rishis like Veda Vyasa, vipraihi, by the Brahmanas, pujitaihi, being worshipped, pratipujitaha, the Lord also reciprocated equally. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Lord Sri Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited the sons of Pandu after having been worshipped by the Brahmanas headed by Srila Vyasadeva. The Lord also reciprocated greetings. Kindly repeat. Lord Sri Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited the sons of Pandu after having been worshipped by the Brahmanas headed by Srila Vyasadeva. The Lord also reciprocated greetings. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Apparently, Lord Sri Krishna was a Kshatriya and was not worshipable by the Brahmanas. But the Brahmanas present there, headed by Srila Vyasadeva, all knew him to be the personality of Godhead, and therefore they worshipped him. The Lord reciprocated the greetings just to honor the social order that a Kshatriya is obedient to the orders of the Brahmanas. Although Lord Sri Krishna was always offered the respects due the Supreme Lord from all responsible quarters, the Lord never deviated from the customary usages between the four orders of society. The Lord purposely observed all these social customs so that others would follow him in the future. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Mande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. 5,000 years ago, when the Pandavas and the Kauravas decided to go to battle, at that time, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, they approached the different kings in the world for support in the fight. Some people supported Duryodhana, some people supported Yudhishthir Maharaj, and naturally, the parties from both camps, they were approaching different people to elicit support in the war. Eventually, Duryodhana and Arjuna reached Dwaraka, and they sought the support from Krishna first. And Krishna offered himself without picking up any weapons or directly fighting in the battle, himself on one side and his entire on the other side. Arjuna chose Krishna, although Krishna would not be fighting the battle directly, he would not lift any weapons, but still Arjuna chose Krishna, and Duryodhana got the Narayani Sena. So the moment Duryodhana got the Narayani Sena, he immediately rushed to Balaram. And he told Balaram that, I want you to fight on my side. Earlier, Duryodhana had been a disciple of Balaram in learning the art of fighting with the mace, with the club. Shri Shri Krishna Rukmani Satyabhama ki jai. In fighting with the Gada Yuddha. So in fighting with the club, fighting with the Gada, Duryodhana had been a disciple of Balaram. So naturally he thought Balaram will be favorable to me and he is my guru. If I approach him, he will agree to fight on my behalf. But when Duryodhana approached Balaram, Balaram said, my dear Duryodhana, I tried speaking in your favor earlier also. But every time, whenever I spoke in favor of you, Krishna never reciprocated. He never agreed. And now Krishna is going to be on the side of the Pandavas. So, I will for not even 1 second can I oppose Krishna. It is not possible. So, I cannot fight on your behalf. Not possible. Impossible. Balaram declined. At the same time, Balaram felt that Krishna is not going to lift the weapon anyway. And this is a family fight. Both the Kauravas and the Pandavas are related to us. Therefore, I will also not fight. Now what to do? Balaram said, I will go on a pilgrimage. I will not stay here. I will go on a pilgrimage. Let them fight. Let them do whatever. After they are finished, I will come back. So Balaram went on a pilgrimage. And he was going to different places, different holy places, visiting all of them. And in the course of visiting the different places, he came to Naimisharanya. When he reached Naimisharanya, Naimisharanya is a holy place. Naimisharanya is supposed to be the central point of the entire universe. And Naimisharanya is where the Srimad Bhagavatam was also spoken by Suta Goswami to the assembly of the sages. So Naimisharanya has always been a place of pilgrimage, a holy place. And Balaram came there. When Balaram came there, there was an assembly of some sages. And they had assembled there to conduct some sacrifices. And amongst them, they had chosen one person called Romaharsana Suta as the speaker in that assembly. Whenever these sages meet, they will choose one speaker who will speak on philosophy, and the sages, other sages will also put questions, and they will, and whoever is the speaker has to answer them. He is sitting on the Vyasasana. Just like when the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken, Suta Goswami was chosen to be the speaker. And Shaunaka Rishi was chosen to represent all the other sages to put forth questions to Suta Goswami. Similar kind of arrangement. And Romaharsana Suta was seated on the Vyasa Gaddi, the Vyasasana. And Romaharsana Suta had been chosen because he was a student, a disciple of Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Under him he has studied, so really a very respected person. And they chose him to be the speaker. Now, this Romaharsana Suta, he was called Suta basically because his mother had been from a Brahmana family, whereas his father was from a Kshatriya family. It was an intercaste marriage. Whenever the father is from a lower caste and the mother is from an upper caste, it is called a pratiloma marriage, intercaste marriage. If the father is from the higher caste, mother is from the lower caste, it is called anuloma. Anuloma means it is a favorable combination. Pratiloma means it is not a very favorable combination. It's not desirable. There was no prohibition. Intercaste marriage means do honor killing, kill both of them. Those kind of things didn't exist. But generally, it was not encouraged to have a pratiloma marriage. Now, Romaharsana had been born to a Brahmana woman and a Kshatriya father. So, he qualified himself by studying under Veda Vyasa to be called a Brahmana. Although he was, according to the social custom, he was supposed to be a Suta. Suta means he is a mixed caste. He is neither Kshatriya nor Brahmana, he is a Suta, he is in between somewhere. But Romaharsana, having studied all the Vedas under Veda Vyasa and all that, he was considered as a Brahmana, and so he was allowed to speak in that assembly of rishis, which was full of exalted, highly qualified Brahmanas. Now, when Balaram entered this arena where all these sages were assembled and Romaharsana happened to be speaking at that point of time, immediately all the sages, all the Brahmanas who were there in that assembly, they stood up to receive Balaram, because Balaram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They all stood up and they offered their respects to Balaram. Balaram also offered his respects to them. And they all gave him an elevated seat to sit on, because after all, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they welcomed him with nice words and all that and asked him to sit there. Then Balaram noticed that while all the other Brahmanas and sages had stood up to receive him, Romaharsana continued to sit on the Vyasasana. He did not get up. He did not offer words of welcome. He did not offer any kind of respect to Balaram. Normally, when a person is seated on the Vyasasana, if anybody else enters that particular place, the person from the Vyasasana is not required to get up to offer respects. That's a general custom. Now, Romaharsana thought, I am sitting on the Vyasasana. I am in a much more respectable situation. So why I should get up to offer respects to Balaram? After all, Balaram is a Kshatriya. That's another thing. And I am a Brahmana. Like that he was thinking. When Balaram saw this, Balaram said that, oh, look at this person. He is from a Pratiloma product, offspring of a Pratiloma marriage. And in such an assembly of exalted Brahmanas and sages, he should not have accepted to sit on that Vyasasana. That was his first mistake. Second mistake is, when I have come here personally, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he did not have the humility to get up and offer his respects and to welcome me. So he is unqualified to be sitting on the Vyasasana, and he is unqualified to be called a Brahmana. So, immediately, Balaram then picked up one straw, one blade of grass. He picked it up and then struck Romaharsana Suta with that blade of grass. And the moment the blade of grass hit Romaharsana fell down dead. You can imagine, with just a blade of grass, Balaram killed him. So immediately, all the sages there was an uproar. Oh my God, what happened? What happened? Everybody was, alas, what an inauspicious thing has happened in this assembly and all that. They started speaking. Then they spoke to Balaram. Balaram, you see, we had blessed Romaharsana with a long life and with undiminishing sensory prowess before we made him sit on the Vyasasana. And now you have killed him. So our blessing has gone in vain. So this is not a good thing to be done. Then Balaram said, no problem. If you all people feel that I should bring him back to life, I'll bring him back to life and he will have a long life, and like you have said, he will live with full vigor and vitality. He'll be able to live a long life. He will not have any problem. If you want, I'll do that. So all the sages said, no, Balaram. You should atone for killing the Brahmana. Yes, that is true. To set an example to others. But at the same time, your uncommon leela pastime of killing a person with a blade of grass, we don't want to revert that. We don't want to reverse that. Let it be as it is. It's your leader. You have chosen to do that. And you have chosen, you have decided to kill him, so we don't want to oppose you. At the same time, our benediction that he should have a long life, that also should not go waste. You figure out how to do this. Now you see this. He should not be brought back to life, but he should have a long life. How is it to be done? Balaram, because he is Supreme Personality of Godhead, the wisest person, he has all knowledge. So Balaram said that it is considered that the son gets the body from the father, and so the son is considered a representative of the father. So let Romaharsana Suta's son, Ugrashrava let him sit on the Vyasasana, and let all your blessings given to Romaharsana Suta for a long lifespan and all that, it will be transferred to Ugrashrava Suta. And in this way, your benediction also will not go in vain, and my act of killing the Brahmana also will remain. So then Balaram told, I hope you are all satisfied. The Brahmanas also, all the rishis, sages, Brahmanas, they all said, oh yes, wonderful, very nice. This is a wonderful solution. We all agree with this. So they all called Ugrashrava Suta and made him sit on the Vyasasana, and they empowered him to speak further. Then all the rishis and sages told Balaram that this is a wonderful thing you have done, but now we humbly request you to set an example to other people that if anybody kills a Brahmana, he has to atone for it. If you don't do it, everybody will take your example and then they will start killing Brahmanas left, right and center, which is not good for them. They will be incurring so many sinful reactions. So to avoid that, you please set an example by undergoing some atonement. So Balaram said, yes, tell me what atonement I should undergo. So the sages told him, you please go on a pilgrimage. And if you go on a pilgrimage and this is the atonement that you will do, that's good enough. Just to set an example. And Balaram also agreed and he continued his pilgrimage. So in this whole Leela, in this whole pastime, Prabhupada explains how Romaharsana Suta had been born in a Pratiloma marriage. He was not actually born as a Brahmana. According to social custom, he was not supposed to be considered a Brahmana, but he was still given the position of a Brahmana. He was made to sit on the Vyasasana in front of all other Brahmanas and sages. But when he refused to offer respects to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then he fell from the position of a Brahmana. So, first of all, the point is that whether one is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra is not by birth. As Krishna also tells in the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasaha. According to the guna and karma, according to the qualities he possesses and the kind of activities he does, that determines whether he is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or a Shudra. So, now what caused his fall down? Because he was in the position of a Brahmana and Balaram was a Kshatriya. So, Brahmanas are not supposed to show respect to Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas are supposed to offer their respects to Brahmanas always. Because the Brahmanas, they are constantly engaged in activities of self-realization. Their only business is to engage in self-realization and to guide the entire society spiritually. They don't have any source of income. They are not interested in big opulent lifestyle. They are not interested in any of those things. They are not interested in sense gratification. They lead a life of austerity and life dedicated to the self-realization. So they are considered the head of the society. Whereas the Kshatriyas, they protect the society. So they are one level lower than the Brahmanas. And then there are Vaishyas who also contribute to the society by engaging in economic activity. For any society to survive, there has to be somebody to protect the society from enemies and rogues and all that. And there also has to be economic activity. If you have only an army protecting you and there is no economic activity, everybody will starve. So the Vaishyas have the responsibility to engage in economic activity so that everybody in the society benefits. Then, apart from them, there are also people who are needed to engage in activities which will require skills, skillful activity. What happens is, if there are entrepreneurs, if somebody, let us say today, he wants to become an entrepreneur, he goes and opens a startup. Now, simply one person going and opening a startup is not enough. He will need skilled people to run that startup. So he will go and engage somebody, he will employ some people. Now that skilled person himself can start a business. He can also open a startup, but then he does not have that appetite for taking that risk. He will say, no Baba, I will go and work under somebody who has opened a startup, and I'll be happy getting a regular fixed income. I don't want to take the risk. Startup may succeed, it may fail. I don't want to take all that risk. I will be an employee in this organization. So such skilled people are also required. If everybody becomes an entrepreneur, then nobody works. Then no startup will work. No startup will take off. Right? You need entrepreneurs who will take that risk to set up a business, and there are skilled people who are also required to work under them. So the people who provide services to the other classes, suppose somebody becomes a ruler, somebody becomes a protector. Now he also needs skilled people below him. He needs bureaucrats, he needs soldiers, all those people are also required. Otherwise one person alone, what will he do? Enemy attacks, one person cannot do anything. He needs a whole organization behind him. Army is required, Navy is required, Air Force is required. And in that Air Force, Navy, etc. also skilled people are required to work. So in this way, when you look at it, there is a class of people who serve the upper classes. Serve not in the sense that they become menial servants, not like that. They serve meaning they employ their skills under the guidance of the entrepreneurs, the leaders who are responsible for protecting the society, as well as the intellectuals. And these people are called the Shudras. So it's not that they don't have any independence or they are considered in some, in some inferior way. Not like that. These are all different sections of the society which are required for proper functioning of the society. This is there everywhere, irrespective of whether you have the Varnashrama system or Sanatana Dharma is not there, it is there being practiced, or it is some foreign country where they are all Christians and there are no Muslims, or another country where there are only Muslims, or there may be a country of atheists like China. Anywhere you go in the world, you will find these four classes of people. One is an intellectual class, another is a class of bureaucrats and politicians, leaders, and then there is a class of entrepreneurs, and then there is a service class who will serve under the guidance of all the other three classes. This is everywhere. So, now out of all these classes, there is gradation of importance according to their function in the society. Not simply by birth, oh, you're born in a Shudra family, so you are condemned. Not like that. So, service class of people is required. They are serving the society. They are employing their skills for the betterment of the society. Better than them are the entrepreneurs. Because if there are only people who are skilled people and who want employment, but there is nobody to employ them, then there will be anarchy in the society. So, entrepreneurs are more important. And naturally, the entrepreneurs will be more wealthy, they will have more wealth, they will earn more money, because of the risks they are taking. Now, more risk than the entrepreneur is taken by the politicians and the bureaucrats and the army. Because if there is a fight, if there is an enemy fight, if there is a fight with an enemy kingdom, what will happen? And suppose the enemy conquers this kingdom, what will happen? First, that enemy will come and imprison all the politicians, bureaucrats and the army people. They will not touch the business people, they will not touch the skilled people who are working in different industries. They will not touch them. You all continue your work. We will imprison all the political leaders we'll imprison all the bureaucrats, we'll imprison all the army people. That's what will happen. So you see, the risk is much higher. Then you look at Brahmanas. Brahmanas, the intellectual class of people, they are not interested in money, they are not interested in fame, they are not interested in building a future for themselves. They are living a life of great austerity and simplicity simply because their whole life is dedicated for the upliftment of the entire society. So they have no personal motivation at all. So such people are the highest people. They are called Brahmanas. So naturally, because Brahmanas lived like that, qualified Brahmanas, so therefore they were given the highest respect in the society. And why do we see this in every society? There is a class of intellectuals, there is a class of politicians and bureaucrats and leaders, and there is a class of entrepreneurs, and there is a class of service providers. All over the world you will see. Even you go to China, Russia, managed, run by atheists, even there also you will see this distinction. Why? Because the Srimad Bhagavatam says that Mukhabahuru padebhyaha purushasyashramaihi saha chatvaro jajnare varna gunair vipradaya prathak. That originally from that Virata Purusha, from his mouth, Mukha, Bahu, from his shoulders, and from his stomach, and from his legs, the four varnas were produced. So Purushasya, out of the Virata Purusha, Mukha, Bahu, Pada, Uru. So out of these four places of the Virata Purusha, the Virata Purusha is the universal form of the Supreme Lord. So all the planets, they form his body, the different mountains, they form his hairs, the oceans form his blood, and all like that. It's a universal conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So from that Supreme Personality of Godhead's head or his face, the Brahmanas were generated. Then from his shoulders, the Kshatriyas were generated. From his stomach, the Vaishyas were generated. And from the legs, the Shudras were generated. Of course, it's not in a in some sort of contemptuous manner that this is described. When we say legs, the Shudras are generated from the legs. It's not to show them inferior. It is a correlation with the function they are doing. The Brahmanas means they are the head of the society. They are intellectual class of people. So they are generated from the head of the Virata Purusha. And whenever there is an attack, whenever we are attacked, how do we protect ourselves? Our first reaction, if there is somebody attacking us, is to raise our hands in defense. Self-defense begins with the hands. So therefore, the Kshatriyas have come from the shoulders. And the energy for the whole body comes from where? From the stomach. Similarly, the society gets its life and the society is able to function nicely. How? Because of the Vaishyas. They are the economic engine of the society. So that's like the stomach. And then there are the service class of people who carry the whole society on their shoulders. If the skilled people are not there, nothing will work. So like that, the legs carry the whole body. So in that sense, from the legs, the Shudras are generated. So now, because these four varnas have been born from the different parts of the Virata Purusha, this Varnashrama system cannot be at any point of time destroyed. It will exist in some form or the other, any part of the world you go. Wherever you go, this will exist. Suppose the whole world becomes full of atheist people, there are no religion at all. Even then, this four class of people will exist. Now in Kali Yuga, because that original Varnashrama system has become vitiated, it has now taken the form of the by-birth caste system. Still, that Varna system is going on. So that Sanatana Dharma, that's why it's called Sanatana Dharma. It can never be destroyed. It will always eternally exist. As long as the universe exists, the four Varnas will continue to exist. So, now The Bhagavatam says, Ya yesham purusham sakshat atma prabhavam ishwaram na bhajanti avajananti sthanat brashtaha patantyadaha. Somebody may be born in a Brahmana family, somebody may be born in a Kshatriya family, somebody born in Vaishya family, somebody, like this, they are all born in different families, and then they may be very proudly thinking, I'm born in a Brahmana family, and he may be qualified also. Like Romaharsana Suta. He was not born in a Brahmana family, but he had become a student of Vyasadeva, and he was accepted in the society as a Brahmana. So somebody may raise himself to the standard of Brahmana. Another example is Vishwamitra Muni. He was born a king, he was born a Kshatriya, he ruled as a king. But later in his life, he gave up his kingdom, his palace, and all those kind of things, and took a renounced order of life. And so he became a Brahmana. So, one may be either born in a Brahmana family or become qualified to become a Brahmana. Similarly, a Kshatriya or a Vaishya. So, in any one of these varnas, somebody is born, but na bhajanti avajananti. They do not offer devotional service to ya yesham purusham sakshat atma prabhavam ishwaram. They do not render devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of everything else. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate. So, that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of everything else, if somebody is in the varna, in one of the four varnas, he is a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya, but he executes all the duties of that varna, but he does not render devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu or Krishna. On the other hand, avajananti, he neglects the devotional service to Vishnu. Then what happens? Sthanat bharashtaha patanti adaha. They fall down from the Varnashrama system. They will be considered outcasts. They will not even be considered Shudras. So whether one is a Shudra or a Vaishya or a Kshatriya or a Brahmana, if he has to remain in his position as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra, he has to render devotional service to Krishna. If he does not do that, patanti adaha, he has fallen down. He is no more considered part of the Varnashrama system. He is no more considered part of the Sanatana Dharma. Which is what happened with Romaharsana also. He refused to acknowledge the supremacy of Balaram. So naturally, he was immediately fallen, and he had to be given capital punishment for not honoring the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he was directly present. So, this position, whatever position we may have in society, it is invariably, it is essential for everybody to render devotional service to Vishnu, without which one cannot retain one's position in the society. This is original Varnashrama system. That is why the Puranas also state, Varnashrama charvata purushena parappuman vishnuraradhyate nanyapantha tattosha karanam. The purpose of the Varnashrama system is to satisfy Vishnu, is to render devotional service to him. By becoming part of the Sanatana Dharma, positioning oneself as a Shudra or Vaishya or a Kshatriya or a Brahmana, all of them are respected in the society. Even a Shudra is respected. It's not that Shudra was disrespected in the society. It was not like that. Everybody was given certain titles. Like somebody is a Brahmana, he will be called a Pandit. Because he's a learned person, he's called a Pandit. Somebody is born in a Kshatriya family, he's called a Thakur. Means he's a ruler. He rules everybody. He's a leader in the society. So he's called a Thakur. Similarly, the Shudras are also called Chaudhris. They also have a title. And it is said in the Bhagavatam also, when Yudhishthir Maharaj conducted the Rajasu Yajna, he invited all the Devatas. He invited all the prominent rishis and sages. He invited all the prominent Brahmanas all over the world. He invited the prominent Kshatriyas from all over the world, Kshatriya kings. He invited the prominent Vaishyas from different parts of the world. He also invited the leaders of the Shudras also for the Rajasu Yajna. So you see, they also had a certain respect in the society. It's not that they were not respected or that they were oppressed and all that. That did happen. That did happen after the Mughal and British rulers came to India. It might have become like that, and the original Varnashrama system, it morphed into the by-birth caste system. That's a different issue. But originally, the Varnashrama system, everybody was given due respect due to his function in the society. Everybody was considered essential for the proper functioning of the society. And if one had to maintain one's position, a respectable position within that Varnashrama system, he had to render devotional service to Vishnu. So the purpose of this entire Varnashrama system was to eventually bring a person to the position of worshipping Vishnu. That is why Srimad Bhagavatam says, Swanishtitaha Dharma Swanishtitaha Pumsam Vishwaksena Kathasuyaha Notpadaye Dediratim Shramaye Vahi Kevalam. If a person perfectly executes all the duties which are associated with those 4 varnas, but he fails to develop attraction for the wonderful pastimes, qualities and holy names of Krishna, Vishwaksena. Vishwaksena is another name for Krishna, for Vishnu. So, Notpadaye Dediratim. If your perfect following of the Varnashrama system, you are a perfect Brahmana, you are a perfect Kshatriya, you are a perfect Vaishya, you are a perfect Shudra. Perfect Shudra, perfect Kshatriya, perfect Vaishya, perfect Brahmana means, in the Vedic times and the Varnashrama system, everybody had specific duties to perform. It's not that you get this position and you get to control and exploit others. That was not the system. The system was everybody had certain duties towards the society. So the performance of those duties, if you perform, only then you get to retain that position in the Varnashrama system. So if somebody perfectly executes the duties of his particular Varna and Ashrama, but by that performance of that duty, he does not develop attraction for the wonderful qualities, pastimes and glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then Shramayevahi Kevalam, it is useless labor. It is meaningless labor you are engaging in. Sometimes people tell, no, oh, our Dharma, we have to fight for our Dharma, Sanatana Dharma is to be established, other religions are coming and conquering us. But what is the goal of following that Sanatana Dharma? It is to develop attraction for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. If that attraction is not generated, then it is simply waste of time. You are simply wasting your time. On the other hand, if you have developed attraction to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, then there is no need for you to situate yourself in a particular Varna and Ashrama. Oh, I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, I am a Vaishya. You developed attraction for Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, reading Bhagavatam, reading Bhagavad Gita, you have developed an attraction for this. No need to call you by any of these names. Because you have become a Vaishnava, you have become a devotee of Vishnu. If you have come to that stage, then no need for any Sanatana Dharma. There is no need to follow any Varna and Ashrama. Well, ultimately you have to come to that point of being a Vaishnava. That is why Padma Purana also states, Nate Shudra Bhagavad Bhaktas Tepi Bhagavatottamaha Sarva Varnais Te Shudra Yena Bhakta Janardane. So Padma Purana states, even if one is a Shudra, even if one is born in a Shudra family, and he is considered in the society that he is born from a Shudra family, that's the lowest rung in the Varnashrama system. Everybody is supposed to go graduate from Shudra to Vaishya to Kshatriya to Brahmana, either in the same lifetime or in subsequent lifetimes. Eventually everybody has to progress up. But even if one is at the lowest rung, if he has become a devotee, if he has become a Vaishnava, if he has become a Bhagavad Bhakta, if he has become a Bhakta of Janardana, Krishna, then he is not to be considered Shudra anymore. He is to be considered a Bhagavata, a Vaishnava. On the other hand, Padma Purana is stating, somebody is situated as a Brahmana. Yena bhakta, but he is not a devotee, bhakta janardane, but he is not a devotee of Vishnu, then he is considered less than a Shudra. He is not even a Shudra, although he may be born in a Brahmana family. So you see, ultimately the Varnashrama system is designed to lead you to the position of developing devotion, devotional service for Krishna. If that doesn't happen, this is simply an arrangement for sense gratification and exploitation. That's what it will become. So, because in the Varnashrama system, in the Sanatana Dharma, that central focus, that the goal of being in this Varnashrama system, the goal of the Sanatana Dharma is to become a devotee of Vishnu. Because that got lost, what has happened? That original Sanatana Dharma, that original Varnashrama system has degraded into the current day by birth caste system in the Hindu religion. It has become like that. And therefore, you will find so many people speaking vociferously against it, Sanatana Dharma has to be abolished, it has to be destroyed, blah, 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 all those things. So, if you really want that glory of Sanatana Dharma to come back, then you have to first re-establish devotional service to Vishnu. And if you become a devotee of Vishnu, then there is no question of whether you are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. You are a devotee, you are above everybody else. You are above even Brahmana also. So, therefore, because the goal of Sanatana Dharma is to become a devotee of Vishnu. Therefore, when Krishna comes, or an incarnation of Krishna comes, like when Ramachandra came, the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead may appear in a Kshatriya family. But all the Brahmanas of that time will offer respects to such a Supreme Personality of Godhead and his incarnation. And that is why you will see, when Romaharsana did not offer respect to Balaram, even all the Brahmanas present there, they all agreed that yes, he has done a great offense. And he has been awarded a suitable punishment by Balaram in being killed by him. Of course, that killing by Balaram is also beneficial for Romaharsana because he gets purified because of that and liberated. And like we are seeing in today's verse, Amantra Panduputransya Shainayodhava Samyutaha. Krishna, after the battle of Kurukshetra had happened and Yudhishthira had been enthroned as the emperor, now Krishna wanted to go back to Dwaraka. So he called Uddhava, he called Satyaki, they are all Yadavas, he called all of them and he informed Yudhishthira Maharaj that I am going to go back to Dwaraka. And Amantriya Panduputramse, invited all the Pandavas, you also now you have got back your kingdom. Now as kings you please come to Dwaraka once. So like that, Krishna invited Amantriya Panduputramsya Shaine Yodhava Samyutaha, accompanied by Satyaki and Uddhava and all the other personalities who were from the Yadava family. Krishna came and took leave of Yudhishthira Maharaj. At that time, Dvaipayana Devir Vipraihi, all the great sages and the Brahmanas, headed by Vyasadeva, because Vyasadeva is the head of the entire of all the rishis and sages, because Dvaipayana Vyasadeva, he is an incarnation of Vishnu. He is the literary incarnation of Vishnu. So he is the head of all the sages and the Brahmanas. So headed by Vyasadeva, all of them came, and Vyasadeva is much senior to Krishna. He is much older to Krishna, and he is also an incarnation of Vishnu. But still, to set an example, Dvaipayana Adibir Vipraihi Pujitaihi Pratipujitaha Pujitaihi. They all worshipped the lotus feet of Krishna. They offered their respects to Krishna. So you see, you may be a Brahmana and the Supreme Personality of Godhead may be apparently a Kshatriya. But because the goal of Varnashrama system, the goal of the Sanatana Dharma is to become a devotee of Krishna, therefore all the sages and Brahmanas, they offered their respects to Krishna, although he is a Kshatriya according to social custom. And according to social custom, Brahmanas are not supposed to offer respect to Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas are supposed to offer respect to Brahmanas. But Krishna, when he was respected by all the Brahmanas, he also did not keep quiet. He wanted to set an example for the society that no other Kshatriya should imitate him. So Krishna, Pratipujitaha, Krishna also offered his respects to all the Brahmanas. So this is how we have to understand the actions of Vyasadeva and all the Brahmanas and Krishna when they met Krishna when he was preparing for his departure back to Dwaraka. So, when we understand the purpose of the Sanatana Dharma and we understand the supremacy of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the goal of the human form of life, the goal of Sanatana Dharma, it is to become a devotee of Krishna. And that is why Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, at the end of the 18th chapter, 66th verse, Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, give up your Varnashrama Dharma, give up your Sanatana Dharma, Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja, become a devotee of Krishna. This is the highest goal of the human form of life. The Varnashrama system, the Sanatana Dharma system is supposed to bring one to that point of complete surrender to Krishna. And once one has surrendered to Krishna, then no more distinction of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. You are an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are equal with everybody else. There is no distinction, there is no segregation like that. This is the understanding which we get from today's verse. So we'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.